All right, welcome everyone to this month's The Royal Nugget. And I'm excited to have the guest that I have here with me today, the one and only Coach Sandy B, and with her program 90 Day Wins. And if you don't know Coach Sandy B, you will know her tonight because she is phenomenal. Like her
Wow.
program, she has a podcast, she's on social media doing all types of wonderful things. And I want to make sure that you all understand that this is a conversation, not just between Coach Sandy B and myself, but for everyone that is out here listening and watching. So please make sure that you are dropping into the chat your comments and questions as we go throughout this evening
Yeah.
with myself and Coach Sandy B. So, Coach Sandy B, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Sharon, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, so let's get started because first thing everybody wants to know is who is
Mhm.
Coach Sandy B? So, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and how you became Coach Sandy B.
Sure, thank you. So, yes, I am Coach Sandy B, otherwise known as Sandra Barker-McIntosh. And I am a coach, I am a podcaster, and I like to tell everyone I am an encourager. I simply believe that every 90 days you can choose to achieve another goal. A lot of times we talk about what we're going to do, and I'm the person to tell you, you can do it, you can take that step. And how I started is I have over 25 years of experience in corporate accounting. And I found that in my role as a supervisor and as a manager of people, we were hitting all our goals. And I thought, wow, if we could do this, every quarter we were showing up for our SEC filings, had all the paperwork in line, everything put in order. But I'm like, can we do this for ourselves personally? So I decided to go on this journey, this 90-day journey. And it's something about going on a journey. You want to bring the people with you. So I brought my coworkers, I brought my family members, and we decided to start being intentional about our goals, talking about it weekly, putting together a plan of action. And that's where I was able to birth my 90-day framework, where I
Mm.
work with my clients to start with their vision. And by creating that vision that they are clear of, they understand their why, they know what exactly they desire, and then we can move to planning and then executing. So that's a little bit about me and how I became Coach Sandy B.
What that is interesting how you took the skill that you had from your corporate position and
Yeah,
transitioned that into building a business that doesn't have anything to do with accounting or anything in that way, but just
exactly.
those things that you know that you have to do in order to progress to that next level. Because that's what we're going to talk about progressing, going from procrastination, which I am a
Yes,
procrastinator. I'm going to say, put it out there, you
yes,
know, tell the truth, shame the devil. I am
yeah,
a procrastinator when it comes to things, that you don't want to do. Or when you
definitely.
feel that you're hard to do, if you have fear over it. People have different reasons why they procrastinate.
Yes,
But
yes,
we're going to talk about moving from that procrastination into progress and how you do that with your clients.
yeah, yes.
So, um, tell us about you start off this um, how you start off with creating the 90-day wins with your programs. What are the things and steps that you ask your clients to go through?
So, first off, when you are deciding to come on a journey with me, we talk about what it is you desire. And I think this is a very critical step because this is where I can decide based on your excitement, based on your evaluation of what you desire, if you are ready to go on the journey. Because I do believe life is a journey. And with 90-day wins, we are committing to this journey daily.
Mm.
So when I sit and I talk with the person who's interested in moving forward, I want to hear things like they they are tired of doing the same things, right? They need help because as a coach, I understand that you can choose to be that MVP, and we can go together on this journey. And at the end of this journey, we would have achieved what it is we decided. So I've got to make sure that you are committed to do this work. And so by asking you questions, talking about what you've done before in the past, so I can gauge the urgency you have, because with 90 days, that is a set time frame, right? And
Mhm.
so when you think about creating goals that are smart, one of the pieces is making sure that it has a time sensitivity to it. So if you are willing to go on this journey, you must understand that there is some sacrifice involved, Sharon. And a
Mhm.
lot of times people don't think about they have to sacrifice. Is it your time? Is it hanging out with friends? Is it going to that brunch because you are locking in on what it is you desire to achieve? So once we have that conversation, and you let me know that, yes, I am ready, Coach Sandy B. I am ready for you to come along this journey with me, and you are clear that this can only work if you decide to do work. Because I'm
Mhm.
going to show up. I
Mhm.
show up to achieve my wins regardless. But if you say you want my help, I want to make sure that you are clear about what's expected. We have weekly or every 2 week check ins, because I want to make sure you are staying accountable. I don't want you to go too far down the road understanding that you should have took a left a week ago, right? So
Mhm.
by checking in and making sure this roadmap that we create for you aligns with what your vision is, that will help you be successful on the journey. So we're checking in, we're talking about what works, we're talking about what doesn't work. We're making sure if you need, before you go to that presentation, if you need to have that 15-minute coaching call so you can feel confident, I want you to know I'm here for you to help you on your journey. The biggest thing is, though, you understand the commitment, the time commitment, the work you're going to do. Because some people say they want to do things, but they don't really take the time to understand the commitment involved. It's nice to say, I want to start a podcast, but it's also another thing to understand the work that goes into creating a podcast, right? So I try my best to make sure I'm giving the information, giving you the tools that you need so you can make the decision for yourself. And once you accept, that means you are committing to yourself, not only to me, but to yourself about your goals and your values. And then we can start that journey together.
Wow. I'm about to choke on this. It is some great stuff. Excuse me just a minute. The craziest things happen when you start getting excited about stuff.
Oh, yes.
So, your commitment to your clients
Yes.
and their commitment to you is a
Yes.
big thing because, like you said, you're going to show up and then they have to show up. How is that commitment look like when you work with your clients? Are you with
Yeah.
them like every day for those
Um,
90 days? Do you have a certain schedule like they meet with you weekly? Because that's a short time frame. I mean,
it is.
90 days is 3 months, and they're
Yes.
committing to do certain tasks in order to get to those wins. And I'm sure that
Yes.
they determine what those wins look like. So, like, do you go through a process of when when they decide they want to do the program with you? How long? I mean, we know how long the commitment is, but how
Mhm.
often do they meet with you? Let me ask that first.
Yeah. So I like weekly,
Mm.
and I'm flexible though, right? Because sometimes weekly just isn't feasible based on the schedule that everyone has. But I like weekly at least 1 hour. And for me, this is something that I want to make sure my clients know we are clear that in order for them to achieve their goals, we have to check in. So this may look like a Zoom meeting, this may look like a phone call, this may look like a text. And it's really just about the dedication. I am telling you, I have the time. So when we decide that you are coaching with me, we look at the calendar. I make sure I keep my coaching calendar updated often. So when we decide, I want you to not have any excuse why you couldn't do the things you need to do, right? So when we're talking and we decide we're going to meet Monday at 1 p.m., that's our time. So that's me saying I'm honoring this time and I expect you to as well. Am I flexible? Yes, things happen. Sometimes I may have a engagement that I can't get out of at 1. So we have alternate times. Usually I like to have a time on the weekend just in case, right? Because life happens. And so that communication starts from day 1. If you say, okay, I can do 1 o'clock and something happens with your child, you know what, Coach SandyB, I actually need to move it up earlier in the day. That's fine. As long as you communicate, I can make changes, I can move around things. And that's what I want my clients to understand. You don't want to be so rigid that you can't make changes. Life is full of changes, right? So maybe we start a little later than we normally do, but we're communicating, we're talking about what's going on. And I find that my clients that are committed to doing the work, they appreciate that. They like that consistency. They know Monday at 1 p.m., I'm meeting with Coach SandyB. That's one of the favorite times. People like that time. So it's like I'm meeting with Coach SandyB and I'm locking in to do this work. You honor this time. That's why that calendar is so important. You
Right.
talk about procrastinators, it's something about you seeing, okay, in a day, I'm having this meeting with Coach SandyB. Did I take care of those things I need to get done? Because she's going to ask me about it.
Right.
Why didn't I do X and X and X? That accountability is so important. A lot of people think they don't need that accountability, but then they don't see the progress. The same way these amazing athletes have coaches, it's because they want that next level goal achievement, right? They want to go further than they've done before. So that's why you have to commit to doing things that you haven't done before in order to achieve the results you desire.
Yeah. So one of the things I remember hearing and reading is that when you tell someone else about the goals and things that you're going to do, you feel more accountable of
Yes,
accomplishing them because somebody else knows. And
exactly.
it's not just yourself. So writing it down also helps people to hold themselves accountable. But when you say it to someone else, that really does. And I'm going to tell you an instance where before I left my federal position for
Yeah.
years, I had known the exact month and year I would become fully eligible to retire.
Wow.
And I would say to people, like in groups and things, I was like, yes, January 2025, that, that's when I become eligible. I got 2 more years. I got a year. I got 6 months. I would just say
Yeah.
one day someone said, Sherry, you retiring? But I hadn't become eligible yet. And I was
Yeah.
like, I still got a little while. And they were like, oh, I thought I heard someone say you were retired. And that's because I had been saying it. And so
Yeah.
they were expecting that I would be retiring either,
Yes.
very soon because I have been saying it. So yes, them, they're feeling more accountable
Hmm.
to you because they've said these are the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
Another thing that came to mind though when you were talking
Uh-huh.
is how do you make sure that they're realistic. Now you talked about SMART goals. So one
Yes.
of the SMART, the S, the R, the S, the M, and A, R,
Relatable.
T.
Yes.
What about that R for the realistic? Because they may say something and you might have to talk to them about how realistic it is for them. So how do you make sure that the goals that they're trying to achieve in 90 days are realistic goals?
Well, we do just that, right? I asked that question because you can desire to want to, be in the Boston Marathon, right? But if
Mhm.
you've done no work, if you've not prepared, then we have to have a talk about being realistic because
Mhm.
truly you can go there, right? I think maybe you can still apply to be in the Boston Marathon, but have you prepared? Like
Mhm.
what is the goal? Do you want to just show up, or do you have a time that you want to get to? So when we think about that big goal that you desire, but then break it down, and let's be realistic. I have a lot of people that I know who want to get their PMP certification.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, there are multiple qualifications and different things you have to have and prerequisites. And so, in order for you to achieve that goal, you got to think about all the steps. Have you gotten to all the steps? So, when we talk about what we want, those big dreams, I love it. I love hearing about it, but we have to make sure we come down to reality, right? And say, what will it take? What will we do? It's always about going back to what work you're going to put into it, right? Because a lot of times people may say, I have clients who say, they're not telling their son to do anything, because when they do, they say, well, my mom told me to.
Right.
There's no one else here that you can pin the blame on. This is your goal. This is your desire. This is your vision. And so we have to be real clear about the work you're going to take to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come with this big, audacious dream, it's like, okay, well, do you understand that you have to do this? You have to be in qualifying races before you can even get to the Boston Marathon. So how about
Mm-hmm.
we start here,
Right.
in anticipation of going there? So I never want to tell someone they cannot do it, but I want to be clear with them and say, well, based on what we know, this
Mm-hmm.
is a roadmap that you have to take, right? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that first leg of the roadmap is signing up and completing that first race that will make you be a qualifier
Mm-hmm.
for the Boston Marathon, right? And
Right.
so what is it going to take for you to get in that first race? Well, you got to pay the entrance fee, right? And then you probably want to train. So you want to give
Mm-hmm.
yourself some time, right? So when you are able to look at the forest from the trees, right? See every aspect of where you're deciding to go, then you can have some sense of ownership and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I desire to go over here, but I have to take these steps. Remember, we're on this journey, right? We are
Right.
creating this roadmap for ourselves. So we're looking at the time and saying, okay, within a month, I want to get this time to here so I can even qualify to be in the race. So let
Mm-hmm.
me take this first step. We talk about small, manageable goals. A lot of times we want to do everything, like the whole enchilada at
Right.
once.
Right.
And we have to be realistic, right? We know that there are stepping stones to it. So that's where I'm helpful to make you realign and say, okay, what can I truly do now? And
Mm-hmm.
then what will be the next step? And so you can have that vision of being in that Boston Marathon, but you have to do a couple other things in order to get there. And it's something about, especially those procrastinators, when they're able to see movement by
Mm-hmm.
taking steps, not being perfect, right? But
Right.
taking intentional step, they get excited. Then they want to do things sooner than later. They don't want to wait until the last minute like they
Mm-hmm.
were used to doing in the past.
Mm. So, yeah, we got some comments in the chat. And Terry, thank you for listening. No matter how long you stay on, I appreciate it. And she says, yes, I always feel a sense of urgency because I've waited so long. So, yeah, sometimes people say, oh, well, when they wait until the end,
Yeah,
then they get that
yeah,
burst and they want to do things and get it accomplished because they know they're at a deadline, and that's what really pushes them
yes,
to do certain things. So yeah,
yes,
sometimes
yes.
that's the motivator for certain people.
It
And
is, but I like to tell my procrastinators that what if you had that extra week? How
mm,
much more could you have put in the effort? Because a lot of us, and I used to be that way when I was in undergrad, right? It's like,
mm,
oh, I can wait and then I can pull an all nighter and do it.
mhm,
Not so much as you get older.
right.
And so it's like you develop these habits of like, I can wait till the last minute. And there is like a rush of excitement, like, okay, I'm gonna do this. But then what happens? Something happens. And
Mm,
then you're staying up later at night. And then when it's time for you to be done, you're like, okay, I'm done. But it's like, I could have done better. And
Yeah.
then you're having this thought that won't leave you because you know you didn't put in exactly what you wanted to.
Right.
So
Right.
I like to encourage people those little steps. You know, you have 3 months out, but you
Mhm.
want to do something today. If it's just making that phone call, if it's just scheduling that meeting, if it's putting it on your calendar and honoring the time, that
Mhm.
is so important. I always like to keep close, and I talk about this a lot. So this is my stopwatch.
Mhm.
Is it gonna come on for me here?
Mhm.
And what I do is I keep it on my desk here with me, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping track of my time. And so it can't be with the phone because the phone is distracting. There are too many things on the phone, right? And you are just locking in that time, even if it's just for you to say, I'm going to spend 30 minutes writing. I
Mhm.
need to get this done. And I know I have 3 weeks to get that piece out, but I'm getting this information. I'm getting these downloads, and I
Mhm.
don't want to delay.
Mhm.
You take those 30 minutes to write. It's something about that focus you give yourself, Sharon, that you go beyond what you think you could do because you
Mhm.
just decide to lock in. It's such a gift that you can give yourself where you choose to stay focused and just do whatever it is, whether it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes, something to help you move forward.
Yes, yes. So I want to again encourage those of you that are out there listening in.
Ah,
Please type into the chat your questions or comments because this is not just a conversation between myself and Coach Sandy B. It is a conversation with everyone online. So thank you so much. I see that Dina put just had this conversation earlier about starting today because something always comes up. She has in quotation marks
yes,
that gets you distracted. A system crashes, a link doesn't work,
true.
illness, meetings change, all kinds of things. And that's true. We always have something to come up. So trying to get started sooner than later is better. And then Terry says, someone told me to use a kitchen timer. So
That
that's
works
good.
just as
Yeah.
well, Terry,
Mhm.
right? Because it's going to beep, it's going to do something to tell you your time's up. And I love that, Dina, because it's so important to realize like the time is now. You will not get that time back. So we want to be intentional about how we use it. And I like to feel as if I'm getting ahead of the game. If I do something before it needs to be done, that's
Mhm.
how I trick my mind to tell me, like, I'm moving forward, I'm ahead of
Right.
the game. So it's just the little things to change your mindset.
Yes, and you know what I've also found is that the the mastermind that we're part of and
Yeah.
coming and getting up and just being in that group in the
Yes.
morning, even though nobody's saying anything, but you're all there, you're getting work done. Like I'll get so many little things done that I put off, like during the
Yeah,
course of the day. I was like, oh, I can do that, I'll do that later. But during that
definitely.
time, I'll get all those little things accomplished. So
Yes.
the rest of the day, I can work on those bigger tasks that I have. So
You're
it's,
winning the day. You
yes,
are
yes.
winning the day. This is what I like to tell people when you're able to do those things and get ahead, getting those things off your list. I have, there's so many different methods that you can use, but if it's going to take you 2 minutes, get
Mhm.
it done so you can move
Right.
on to that next thing. Maybe it's just delegating, right? To say, okay,
Mhm.
I don't need to do this. I can give this to so and so and they can get it done just so you can move it off your schedule and know that action is happening with it.
Yes. So you and Dina, that's a great comment, but you can ask Siri to
Yes,
set a timer for you. That's another delegation, right, Siri?
totally,
Go
totally.
off at a certain time for me, and it'll go off. So for those of you who are listening, before we got live, before we went live, I was
Yeah,
talking to Coach Sandy B, and she was giving me some tips on things that I should do for my business. And she said she likes to be strategic. And so
yeah.
I want you to talk about how you work with your clients and being strategic.
Sure. I love to talk about strategy because I think that we can brainstorm and come up with different ways. And sometimes just listening to someone talk about what they have or what they need, you can help them with all this experience, Sharon, being in corporate, right? talking to different people, working in different environments. So I'm able to hear what you say and identify ways that I can help people. So
Mm,
this looks like, for example, one of my clients that I love to talk about, she has a experience as a teacher and doing work in finance, but she is a artist and she loves to paint. And so she desired to get notoriety for her paintings, and she also desired to have wearable art. And so we came up with a strategy where she would send her art, free different things, a dress, a swimsuit. She painted earrings. So we sent them to different influencers. And this was before it was like a big thing to do. And
mhm,
if you remember, Tabitha Brown would do it. She would have certain days where she would get these boxes and she would open it up. So we came up with this idea that we would send this box to Tabitha with some of her paintings and some of her artwork, the wearable art. Well, the one thing that Tabitha took out the first box was a swimsuit. It was a regular swimsuit, but it had her painting on it. So it was a black swimsuit, but it had a picture of a mask that she created. And so when you take the time to brainstorm and think about what people like, if anybody knows
mhm,
anything about Tabitha Brown, she loves color. Well, this artist loves color as well. And so they had those things in common. Well, when Tabitha Brown opened this care package, this swimsuit caught her eye. Well,
mm.
not only did it catch her eye, Sharon, she wore it and she took a picture and she talked about body positivity.
Wow.
So we knew we had something there. We sent
Mm,
her another package. Well, guess what? She knows it's coming from this artist. She knows it's
mhm.
custom. It was a beautiful floral dress. Tabitha Brown wore that dress on the Today Show. So what do you think happened with that dress? And it was an A-line, very strategic, right?
Mhm.
A-line pretty much fits good on
Yeah,
any body type,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So Tabitha Brown wearing this swimsuit first, right?
Mhm.
Then wearing the dress. Well, that dress sold out. That
Mm,
got her notoriety. People are asking, who's this Tammy G? Who's this artist? Tabitha Brown wore her earrings. Same
mm.
thing. So then Tabitha Brown and her husband bought a new home in California. Whose tights do you think they wore? Her tights. It's bright color. So when you understand what your demographic is, who your demographic is, and what they are looking for, what they like, what you have to offer, then you can come up with different strategies. This same client, she wanted to be able to get more notoriety for her painting and she desired to paint live. So we talked about different companies that would allow her the opportunity, went in and go visit different companies. Well, have you ever heard of West Elm? Well, she is a resident artist for West Elm. So
Mm,
imagine here in Atlanta, going to Alpharetta, their store, and seeing her paint live and sharing her paintings and having people come in. It's one thing for you to have that strategy. Every Monday, we're meeting at 1 p.m., talking about the different ways she can get the exposure, and then seeing her doing it, and then
mm,
seeing people reaching out to her, asking her to come do an art show in New York.
mm,
Because we sat down and worked a plan that will allow for her to go beyond what she's ever done before. Did we know that Tabitha Brown would wear these things? Did we know that it would resonate with her? We thought, but
mm.
we couldn't imagine what it would be. And so this is one of those stories where I like to tell people, do you believe? Do you believe in what you have in the product and the service that you provide? Because we're putting that energy out, right? We didn't have a negative thought. We didn't say, oh, well, maybe she'll open it up. Maybe she'll like it. We knew that we knew that we knew, Sharon, that
Yeah.
once she opened this up, something was going to light up for her.
Mm,
Those colors, right? Those
mhm,
colors resonated with her. The story of a mom who's stepping out on faith, that's doing something that she believes so strongly with. And these paintings are beautiful. So
mm.
that's just a little story of being strategic,
Right.
knowing the market that you desire to serve. And then taking risks, right? As entrepreneurs, we take risks daily. We
Right.
don't know how they'll work, but we're showing up being intentional. So imagine she's in West Elm and I've been there with her. And I
Mm-hmm.
get so excited when I see people come in and they're like, oh, I bought this painting from you. Oh, I saw when Tabitha Brown wore these tights. Do you still have any more of these? So it's just exciting because I remember when we were talking about it, when she was wondering how she was going to pay her bills, Sharon, and now
Mm-hmm.
the overflow
Mm.
just
Wow.
continued to come in because she
Wow.
decided to believe.
Yes, yes. And so we want to make sure that everyone that's listening knows that Coach Sandy B is in Atlanta. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you
Yes.
want to make sure that you reach out to her and try to meet up with her in person. But no matter where you are, she can assist you and work with you in the 90-day wins. So my
Yes.
question for you is, what about 90 days? What makes
Mhm.
that so significant?
90 days is a sweet spot. Most the time people can wrap their head around 90 days, right? You have the 90-day probation period when you start a job, so it's very relatable. And it is enough time for you to create something and pivot and make change and still move forward. So you give yourself enough time. 3 months is a season, right? And so
Mhm.
you can lock in, you can say, I'm going to commit to this. And you know what? I want to change. I want to move in this way. I want to do more, but you keep moving. And so if you can just envision, there's a book called The 12-Week Year, which
Yeah.
is saying similar things. So
Mhm.
it's like, why do you have to wait until this quarter, right? We're in the fourth quarter, but each quarter you're getting up to play, right? I like
Mhm.
to tell people that you are the MVP and
Mhm.
I am the coach. So you think of Kobe Bryant, right? And all the amazing coaches that have helped him along his journey. You think about LeBron James. You think about these amazing athletes. They are great. They have the skills, right? They
Mhm.
have the God given gifts, but they still need that coach, Sharon, that person that's going along the journey with them, that person that's looking and noticing those things. And so by us being able to work closely for 12 weeks, that's just the beginning.
Mhm.
Because once you start seeing the activity, seeing these things materialize for you, and like I told you, because you're locking in, they come sooner than what you imagine. You get excited. That
Right.
client that I'm telling you about, she calls me and she says, put me in, coach. Put me in. I'm ready to play. I just got this great opportunity. Put me in. And
Uh,
that's saying we're igniting, we're getting excited, we're moving, we feel the energy. So we're
mhm.
always looking forward. And I can tell you, there have been some times where there were some great lessons where she decided to step out and go to Miami and do that event. And the event wasn't fruitful, but it's a lesson in it, right?
Right.
You learn, you show up another day. I remember sitting there thinking, like, wow, these people aren't coming.
Mhm.
What's going on here? But you
Right.
know what? We regrouped. We thought about the things that went well. And then guess what? Another opportunity came. Well, you're not going to say because it didn't work out in Miami, I'm not going. She went to New York, and guess what? It opened up doors that she couldn't even imagine. So
Mm.
that's it. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep believing, and having a coach to walk on that journey with you can help you when those days you don't feel very motivated, where you don't even feel like you can paint. She went through a fire during that time.
Mhm.
Imagine being concerned, literally having to leave out her home and get
Mhm. Mhm.
repairs done, but people are still expecting their paintings. They're
Right.
still expecting her to show up and do the work. And so we went through that. And so that's life, right? You have those ebbs and those flows, but she's still excited and still grateful that she took that step, that she
Mhm.
believed in herself, and that she had a coach who believed in her as well.
Yes, yes. So it sounds like that you don't only just work with them for like 90 days. They may come back and work with you for a longer period of time, like 6 months or, whatever, or come back and forth depending on what their needs are.
That is it. I have some people that sign up for all 4 quarters, people that do quarter to quarter. I am just committed no matter where you come in, just know that I'm ready to rock and roll. I
Mm,
am vested in seeing you achieve your wins. It's something about seeing someone take their vision to reality. It
right.
is exciting. It inspires me. I
Mhm,
can tell you that prior to me becoming a coach, I was talking to someone about this earlier. I would have people tell me all the time that, you've helped me. You really listen to me. Being in a corporate environment, but having friends that are going through so many things, Sharon, right? I mean, you
mhm,
spend all this time together. One day a friend's getting married, and then the next day they're trying to have a child, right? And
mhm,
so it's the ebbs and flows of life. So that friend who is like, wow, you were there with me when I was engaged and now I got married and now I'm trying to have this child and you're here with me and we're praying together and we're
mhm,
believing and we're trusting
mhm,
God that this will happen for you.
mhm,
So I've had so many people tell me about how I've helped them on their journeys. And so when I thought that I could use my voice in this way, it was a bit scary because I thought that people only knew me as this accountant, Sharon, even though I had been there and done so many other things with them. But I had to decide, would I bet on myself? And
mhm,
would I allow for the gifts that I know within me? Would I allow for myself to learn? And so
right.
that's when I decided, okay, there may be something to this.
Mhm,
And it's so interesting that when you think you don't have time, God gives you time. So what
right.
happened was a layoff happened. It was
Mm,
2020, a layoff happened. I got the package and I'm
right.
like, okay, well,
Right.
now's a good time than any to
Mhm,
start and to step out on faith. And so now I'm reminded of that with so many people out of work. You're coaching and helping people navigate these very tough waters. And
mhm,
so I remember that, what helped me move forward? What helped me transition to this different career? And it
right.
was that belief in me, right? It was that mustard seed faith. And it was that thought that, God brought me here. And so
Mm,
I'm gonna step out and trust him. I'm gonna believe. And then
mhm,
I'm gonna get the help.
right.
And
Right.
so I think that's what we all can choose to say, I'm going to take a step. I don't
Mhm,
know where it'll lead me, but I'm moving with intention and I have faith.
yes.
And oh, by the way, I remember back in the day when I was feeling like I couldn't move forward. So I remember what I've been through in the past. So I have confidence in knowing that I can move forward and make a way somehow, but I know it will happen for me.
Yes, yes, that's wonderful. So I know that I've had it on the screen about how people can contact you, but I want you to say if
Yeah.
anybody is interested in learning more about you and 90 Day Wins,
Yeah.
where can they find you? How can they contact you?
Sure. So you can contact me at 90daywins.com. That's the website. You can go to the contacts page and learn more and connect with me and see all the things. Also, I am on social media. I am showing up with intention. So on YouTube, 90 Day Wins. On every platform, it's 90 Day Wins. 90 DAY wins.com. That's where you can find me everywhere. So TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, 90 Day Wins. You can also email me at goalgetters at 90daywins.com. That's where I get all my emails, I talk to people, I engage. I just love reaching out and learning about people and what they have going on. We can choose to be the light, and I am all about shining my light. I know that so many people are dealing with difficult times, and I want you to know that you don't have to feel as if you're stuck, as if you're alone. There are people like myself and Sharon who are ready to help you. And if we can't help you, if I can't help you, one thing I know that I can do is to refer you to someone else who can help you because good people know good people.
Yes, yes. So I do want to transition now to
Yeah.
your podcast
Yes.
because you have a wonderful podcast with a lot of content. So tell us like what made you go into creating a podcast?
So that is a interesting story. I was in a mastermind.
Mhm.
And it just so happened that this mastermind was put together by a lady who is in the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich, community. And I was in this mastermind and we were studying Think and Grow Rich, which is one of my all time favorite books.
Mhm.
And I was asked to speak on her podcast about organized planning because during that time I was really honing in my 90-day framework. I was working with my family as well as myself and my employees on it.
Mhm.
So I was invited to come on that podcast. From that podcast, someone else heard me and invited me on their podcast. And
Mhm.
so now I'm getting all these podcast requests, and people are wanting to hear me speak more. I'm getting a lot of information from people that want to know more about this 90-day framework. And
Mhm.
so I was already talking with a trusted advisor, and I was thinking about how I could create this podcast because it's very different from being a accountant, right? But
Mhm.
the thing about being in Atlanta, it is just a amazing place where you can meet people and ask questions. And so it just so happened this podcast that I absolutely love is called Bottom of the Map. It's produced here in Atlanta, and it's so funny because I have their little pin here. I love them. So one of the producers of this show, Bottom of the Map,
Mhm.
I developed a friendship with him. And it's something about people telling me they can help me along my journey, Sharon, because I
Mhm.
actually take them up on it. A lot of times
Right.
people say things to us and we're like, oh, okay, whatever. No,
Yeah.
I make note, I write it down, and then it's
Uh-huh.
like, how can I utilize that service that that person is giving to me? So
Right.
this is exactly what I was able to do with this gentleman. He is to this day one of my closest trusted advisors. So it's something about someone telling you, like I tell my clients, you can do that. And so
Mhm.
he walked along the journey with me. So 5 years later now, I can't believe it, over 171 episodes. I
Wow.
am still excited. I'm still motivated. It's hard work to produce a podcast,
Mhm.
but the impact I believe that I'm able to have with the podcast is priceless to me, my friend. And I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
And the people I get to meet, the
Yeah.
stories I get to share,
Right.
by us both being a part of a group called Every Dot Black, where I have been given the pleasure to be able
Mhm.
to interview members of this organization. And I am inspired by the stories I hear. So I just think I am in the right place at the right time
Mhm.
doing the thing that I need to be doing. It's funny because when I first started, many of the people, even some of my family, didn't know about a podcast, didn't know where to go get a podcast.
Right.
Many people have iPhones, right? And they don't notice that that little icon opens you up to a world
Mhm.
of so many things. So I've had the pleasure of sharing with multiple people how they can listen to the podcast, but I continue to learn and grow. I'm
Mhm.
having record number downloads
Wow.
because here's what's happened, Sharon, when you show up in different places. And so one of the places, like you said earlier, I'm showing up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Who would have known? But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the engagement with people.
Mhm.
And I'm just living the dream essentially because this is what I decided to do. And so it's funny because some of my accounting friends are like, wow, you really look like you're having a ball doing this. And I can tell you, I truly am. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I will say when you start walking in your purpose and passion, people can see the difference in you just exude, just coming out of you so
Yes.
much. So I'm sure they're probably seeing something that they didn't see before. And
Yes, ma'am.
now, you're just blessed to be able to walk in that purpose and passion that you have.
Yes. Yes.
Dina had mentioned earlier when you were talking about the young lady who's an artist, she said how
Yeah.
colors make her feel happy. And she
Yeah.
also just mentioned how the book that you mentioned,
Think and grow rich.
the favorite
Yeah.
books. Yes, yes,
See,
Napoleon.
Dina and I, like, we get each other. We get each other. Yeah, I so appreciate that. It is a book that I really, really enjoy. It's one that I like to read at least once a year. I feel like I learn some different things. So yeah, it's cool stuff.
So, um, We know that you can be found on all social media
Yes.
platforms. We know that you have your podcast on Apple and Spotify. What are some of the topics that people talk about on your podcast?
Oh, so many different topics. We're in the Entrepreneur of Excellence series, so we have some amazing guests. The guest that is out now, he is talking about AI. His
Mhm.
name is Wayne Hines, and it is a very exciting time. Like I'm a big techie, so I like to know all the things that are going on with the new technologies. And as I learn how to increase my investment portfolio, I'm looking at all these tech companies, right?
Mhm.
So I am getting those leaders that are in the forefront of understanding these new technologies. A lot of people want to feel scared and concerned. And so people like Wayne are coming on the podcast to let you know that you do not have to be afraid. You
Mhm.
can get with the people, you can learn how to use it responsibly. So I'm excited about that. Another guest is a teacher who turned a 7-figure investor, a day trader, which is very exciting. I have tons of teacher friends, and it's encouraging because sometimes we want to be stuck in that box, Sharon, and we don't have to be, right? Because there are so many other things that are available to us. So that's an exciting episode. And I am continuing to let everyone know that they don't have to be stuck with procrastination. They can have the confidence. Right now, a
Mhm.
lot of people, especially women, right, are with the job loss and their confidence, right? So it's
Mhm.
important that I let them know with the guests that I have on in our Women of Influence series, but also in the solo episodes to let them know that you have value and your worth is greater than that job title, right?
Right.
So we're still continuing to do what we started all those years ago,
Mhm.
encouraging you to achieve your goals every 90 days, but also having you hear from goal getters, regular people who are showing up with intention and doing the work. So I'm really proud of it. It is my baby. It's only 5 years old, but we are excited to see just how we can go, how far we can go with it.
Yeah, well, 5 years is a long time. I mean, and I know that you have done it, you have been consistent with it. So five
Yeah,
years is a long time in the podcasting world.
it
So,
is. It is.
some people start and you see a few episodes and
Yeah,
then there's like yourself who have multiple, like you're over 100, almost 200 episodes. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a great
yeah.
achievement. So
Yes.
Dina, I don't even know what that company is that you just mentioned.
NVIDIA, yes, yes. This is a very interesting company. So, we are in, they're calling it like the AI arms race, right? So all these companies are coming together, ChatGPT. So NVIDIA creates chips. And so there's a lot of activity around it because they are able to do some just dynamic things. And so I am not the expert, Dina, but there are some exciting people that are doing some things. It's the AI people, she
Yeah.
says. But even like you can get Nvidia stock on a platform like Robinhood, right?
Right,
So
right.
you can do your research, but that's why I like being connected with entrepreneurs that are smarter than me,
Mhm.
Sharon, that are doing the
Yes,
work that I can
yes,
ask because I am not afraid to ask the question. So
yes.
you actually hear in this episode 171, where I'm asking Wayne we hear about all of these different data centers, right? Well, these data centers, we have to cool them. So that's why the water is used. So I'm really concerned about the water because obviously environment, right?
Right,
And how are we keeping up with all of this? So, I mean, it's an exciting time, but it's a time that we don't have to feel overwhelmed and feel like, you know what, AI is going to take my job because it's
right.
not. It's
Mhm.
you understanding how to use AI. So those people that know how to leverage it will take your job. So
Right.
you have an opportunity to learn.
Yes, yes. People should not be afraid of AI. And
Yeah.
AI tells you it's not going to be perfect. So you
No,
do have to
no.
make sure that you are doing your research,
Yes.
looking at it, and don't just take like what it says as okay, this is what I should do. Like
Yeah.
I know for myself, when I go and ask AI to help me to think about something, to plan something, I also say, tell me what the risks are, but tell me
Mm,
how to mitigate these risks so
yeah.
I know what to expect. I'm not going to just go by, oh yeah, this is it and this is the plan. Things happen. And
Yes.
so we have to be able to pivot. And you talked about being flexible.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
we have to understand that AI is as good as the information that it receives and it's not perfect. And we want to make sure that we are doing what we need to do in order to, you know, advance, not just using AI, but for our own selves.
Yeah.
So, you said they are debating about putting a data center. Yeah,
Mm,
so over here, not too far from where Dina and I live, they
yeah.
are talk. They've been talking back and forth with the community about putting a data center here in Prince George's County, Maryland, where the community is not too happy. But
And
I
this
think,
is why you
yeah,
need to understand so you guys can be at those meetings and
right,
ask those questions and let everyone else be aware because it wreaks havoc on the community.
yes,
I
yes,
saw some information about here in Georgia, some places where people had to move because of these data centers. And so
hmm,
we need to be aware, right? We can't act like we don't know what's going on. We have to be mindful. And so, yeah, it's a very interesting time.
yes,
Very interesting
yes,
time.
yes. So, as you said, we have to be educated on the benefits as well as
Yes.
the consequences and challenges that it
Yes.
might bring to the
Yes,
community
ma'am.
around it when it comes to those data centers. So
Mhm.
I want to make sure that again, if you don't mind sharing again how people can
Yeah.
get in touch with you, because I know that you're going to get questions, those who are listening now and those who are going to listen in the future
Absolutely.
on YouTube where this is playing. Tell
Yes.
them how they can get in touch with you.
So you can get in touch with me by going to the website 90daywins.com, or you can send me an email at goalgetters at 90daywins.com, or on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere I am 90 Day Wins. I'm Coach Sandy B. You can find me on TikTok as well, where I go live at 8 a.m. and at 3 p.m. on the weekdays. On the weekends, I kind of pop in, but I am consistent on those times on the weekdays so I can let everyone know about starting the day. And usually on at 8 o'clock, I am outside if the weather permits because I want you to start the day with intention. I want you to see me movement, taking action for my win. So by you coming and going live with me on TikTok at 8 o'clock, you're showing up for your wins. I have people, Sharon, that get online with me at 5 o'clock their time,
Mm,
which I think is amazing. But
right.
they are showing up because they are committed to achieving their goals and they're getting that word. Something that I say in that morning helps encourage them to take action. So I'm excited
Mm.
for the community that we're building over
Yes.
there on TikTok.
Yes, so make sure you understand it's 8 a.m. Eastern time and 3 p.m. Eastern
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Don't show up at 8 a.m. and you're in Alaska, Hawaii. You will not see
Exactly.
her at
You
those
would miss
times. But I
it.
have seen her at during that 3 o'clock hour,
Yeah.
and she has so many people on there with you. I think you had like over 7,000 or 20. It was a lot of people that day that I was on there with you. And you were engaging with everybody that was commenting. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I couldn't believe like how you were keeping up with seeing the comments and talking to them and just
Yeah.
being so engaging. I mean, does that um how does that feel for you to have so many followers and people just knowing that you're there consistently? Because, like you said, you've been consistent with it. Talking about 90-day wins, you've been
Yeah.
consistent with that every week for several months now. So,
Yeah.
how's
Yeah.
that been feeling for you?
It's awesome because I don't take for granted that you could be anywhere at 8 o'clock in the morning. You could be asleep.
Right.
But you are choosing to come in to hear this word. And so I put effort into it, right? I am talking to you, I'm encouraging you. And so to get the responses, when you see that chat going, when you see people sharing little gifts, if they can, they are telling you about encouraging them, that instant feedback is awesome because you don't necessarily get that by podcasting. I mean, you go live right here. I usually don't do this. So this is a stretch for me, right?
Mhm.
Because I normally just put my podcast episode, I record it and I put it out. But now I'm saying I want to show up live in order to have you learn a little more about me. So
Mhm.
by me taking that step, remember, I tell my clients to take steps and to stretch themselves. So this is what I'm doing. I'm stretching myself because I already get up and walk in the morning, but now I'm being intentional to say, I am having people from all over the world. I have people come in from Nigeria, people come in from UK, from Spain, and it's the same thing. I want to make them feel welcome. I want them to know that I appreciate the fact that they're here, the time that they're putting in, because your time is so valuable, right? So I want to leave them with something that will encourage and inspire them. And if I do my job well, they'll want to come back, right? And
Mhm.
so I do see a lot of people coming back, a lot of people saying, "Oh, I couldn't find you. I'm so glad I found you again. You
Yeah.
inspire me, you encourage me." And so that obviously inspires and encourages me and lets me know that 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 work that I'm doing is having impact. And I'm seeing that in the numbers, right? Because I'm a
Mhm.
numbers girl. So the
Right.
analytics are showing, right? I'm getting
Yeah.
increased people following here on YouTube. I'm getting increased downloads. I'm getting emails, people asking me questions. So all of these things are letting me know are indications that I'm moving within the right direction.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, and Dina says she's usually sleep around 8 a.m. So, but you can catch her at 3 p.m. Eastern time, Dina. If you
Yeah.
miss her at 8 a.m. And if you are not on TikTok, you can just get on TikTok so you can follow Coach Sandy B or myself, and
Yeah,
then you'll start seeing other people you know and get
exactly.
notifications and everything. You don't have to, actually post on TikTok like that.
Yeah,
Everybody doesn't post or engage with people on social media. They just like to see what's there
yeah.
and scroll and learn about different things. So yeah, don't feel that you're gonna miss her, Dina, just because you're not up
No,
at it.
no. And I've been challenged. Another podcast host friend of mine who, like you,
Mhm.
goes live here, she's challenged me because she's like, "Hey, you're going live over there and you have your YouTube page. What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "You're absolutely right. There's no reason why I shouldn't." So I am accepting the challenge, and so I'm figuring out the time, but I want to come here more. I want to be able to engage and do some things, and you and my other friend have encouraged me, and
Yeah.
it's good to have the chat here so you can talk with the people. So I'm inspired to take action and do that because I don't want a platform to limit you being able to hear
Mhm.
what I have to share, right?
Right.
And so I am figuring out all the ways because there are I feel so strongly that the message that I have can help someone make that difference for themselves.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I am conflicted to do my part, right? It's
Mhm.
just my little part, but that little part can have ripple effects. So that's what I'm committed to do. So whatever platform I am able to get on, I'm getting on it.
Yes, and so Dina does mention that the walks in the morning sounds motivating and a great way to get
Yeah.
your body and mind energized and ready for the day. It can. It definitely
That
can.
is it exactly. And I there are a couple parks. So there's a park that I go to that's not very far. There's another one that I go to. And so I brought the people on with me and it's really exciting because in this one part there's like nature all around. So we've seen some deer early in the morning. We've seen different birds,
Mhm.
turtles. And
Mhm.
so think about you're going through so life is going on and then you get on this live and you see this lady showing you a pond, showing you a creek, and telling you, like, look at God's great creation. Even though there's crazy going on around, you're
Right.
allowing yourself to just be present and think about these birds are chirping. They aren't concerned about the shutdown. They
Right.
are just knowing that they'll be okay. So, the
Mhm.
same way these birds can have faith. They don't know where their food's coming from.
Right,
They
right,
go have to
right.
hunt for it every day, right?
Yes,
But they
yes.
still are believing and knowing. So
Mhm.
how about we can take a page out of that book? I know yesterday was tough, but it's a new day. And oh, by the way, the sun is peeking through the clouds. The sun is shining for you today, Sharon.
Right.
So that's what I tell them. And I tell, like, I was in Philadelphia last week. So, of course, I had to still go live. So I'm walking in Philly and I'm walking by this tree, guys, and it's a very tall tree. I'm obsessed with trees. Literally, it had iron. It had the gate, like it grew around the gate. So the
Mhm.
gate was a part of it. And I was so enamored by this because I'm like, guys, even though life is tough, even though we have challenges and obstacles, look at this tree. It literally has an iron gate through it. Like
Mhm.
they would have to cut through that tree to get the gate out if they wanted to move
Right.
the gate. And so it reminds me that we can choose to go through the storms and, you know, you get that scab that goes over that cut right in that bruise, but you're
Mhm.
still growing and you're
Right.
still learning and you're still moving forward. You may have that mark to represent that scar, right? But
Mhm.
you're healed and you
Right.
can move on. So
Mhm.
it's like there's so many things that just show up in nature that we get to talk about. And so by the time we end the live, I'm filled, the people that come in are filled, and we literally are ready to win the day.
Right. You know, when you said about that, what came to mind was that scripture that Paul says he asked God to take away that
Yes,
thorn, but
yes,
instead he realized how that thorn reminded him of the blessings. And sometimes
yeah,
we have those thorns, but it's just a reminder that we've come through and we can still grow and be
very
even
true.
stronger. That tree is probably stronger with that gate than
Yes.
it was without it because it has that internal anchor in it that's holding
Whew.
it in place. And so when winds can come and
Oh,
blow, that tree probably is still going to be there because that
yes,
gate is
ma'am.
holding it in place.
Yes, ma'am. And then you think about how those trees, they're huge, right? And you look up and it's like they're just praising with
Mm,
their limbs, you know? So it's like, wow, I have so much to be grateful for. And so they get the visual of that. And I just want to be that little spark of hope and enjoyment for them as they start today. So
mm.
that's just my way of telling you that you can choose. You are declaring that you will win the day.
Yes, yes. So we have gone a little teeny bit over, but that's okay
My bad.
because no, don't apologize because it is all worth it. And Dina, yes, it's an awesome perspective to just imagine how we get anchored in with things that
Yeah,
feel like they hurt us, but it really can push us to that next level. We talked about what's been going on. We hinted on it, what's been going on in the federal workspace, but really
yeah,
how it's affecting everybody. But you've seen people grow, move in different directions that they probably thought they would never ever do, and it's all because they got pushed out their comfort zone. They
yeah,
got little, thorn in them, but then now they're growing and prospering. Like you said, they're up there praising and
yeah,
glorifying God because this is not what they expected, but they're
yeah,
in a different place than they ever been, and is starting the fruition, the passion, the things that they've had within them, and now they have opportunity to do it. So thank you so much, Coach Sandy B. I'm so glad that you are able to be with us this evening. Thanks to everyone that has been able to engage with us today, and those who watch us in the future. Don't forget to drop a chat, drop a
yeah,
comment, and follow Coach Sandy B and myself on social media platforms wherever you find us.
yeah,
Subscribe to this podcast as well as Coach Sandy B on Apple and Spotify. I'm here on YouTube, but make
yes,
sure that you find her on YouTube as well.
yes.
Like and subscribe so you can receive those notifications
Thank
when
you.
every time that something comes up, you'll be able to see it for be one of the first and share it. Share the information with others
Yeah,
so they too can understand about how they can get those 90-day wins. In my head, I'm like, I need to start doing this better. Like I need to start strategizing and being better because 90 days is really it's a short time, but it's a
yeah,
powerful time. And like
It
you said,
is.
I love what you said about it's a season.
Yes.
90 days is a season. If we look at summer, winter, spring, fall, that 90-day season, if we go into our workspace, we have those quarters. You have four quarters
Yes.
that are 90 days. And we look at it that way, we can get it done. We can get it
Yes.
done. Thank you so much again, Coach Sandy B.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. And we look forward to seeing you again next month where I will have my guests, Tia and Corey Clark, who are the makers. They're not the makers of the wine, but they have their own wine label and their wine.
Nice.
And they're going to be talking about how they started Roman Clark Wines. And so they're in the local Washington, D.C. area, but they're going to be here and talk about it just in time for the holidays, the wine that
Nice.
you can get. And you can get it from anywhere. They do ship anywhere in the various states across the
Awesome.
country. So I look forward to that, and you all have a great evening.
Thank you.